Well, we've seen from systematic review that when mega sport events are being hosted, we always think that there is this trickle down effect or the demonstration effect or the inspiration effect, whatever you want to call it. And a systematic review has actually shown that there is no new participation that is generated from these events. What we do see is that maybe people who already did some sport may do a little more, or those who participated in the past may play again, or people just shift sports. So if we keep hearing that claim that events generate new participation in sport, we cannot substantiate that with what we find in the literature. Well, it all depends. I mean, I think one of the problems is that most bids, whether it's from cities or organizing committees, include in their bids that these events will generate participation. And I think once that's in the bid, you need to deliver on that. So if they claim that, then you need to make it happen. And we have tried to work with local sports organizations to help them leverage events to create new participants in their sports. So we've worked very closely with local sports organizations on the ground and put in a lot of time and effort together in collaboration. So it's not that we told them what to do, we just did it together. And they tried to, so we developed a whole action plan of things that they could do. In the end, when the event took place, they were not able to really do all these action points because they didn't have the capacity or the skills or the resources to do it. So even if we work directly with local sports organization who eventually will have to provide opportunities for this new sport participation, that avenue doesn't work. So even though we know we need to leverage, we are still not quite sure on who would be responsible for making it happen. Because sport clubs on their own are not able to do it. The local organizing committee of the event, they are focused on organizing the event. And that's their primary focus, to stage a mint event, right? They want the best possible event. They don't care that much about what comes after or whether the event generates sport participation after. So I don't think the local organizing committee should be mandated with making this happen. So I think there might be an important central role for cities or people within the parks and recreation departments of cities to make sure that if there is a goal to generate new participation through an event, that they bring the right group of people together, be that in the form of a sports council, representative from local sports organizations, maybe social cultural organizations, some representatives from the local government. So, but the first thing is they need to be sure that everybody thinks this is important, because if the goal is not there, nothing is going to happen. Well, we're all familiar with large-scale events that have built sport facilities that did not have the community needs in mind and left white elephants, right? They either closed the buildings after, or they didn't even have enough funds to maintain the facilities. The 2004 Olympic Games in Athens, we know that, but even in Rio 2016, the facility 6 months after the games were detrimental. So those are some not so good examples. When we stick with mega sport events, often we see that the facilities will be used for national training centers, which is great. But again, it's helping high performance sport. So it is sport development. And that is what we see. We see that events can help move those who are already in the sport to move forward and to develop, get international experience. Same with facilities. If they become national training centers, they help the high performance athletes, which is fine, no problem. But they will not serve your people at the basis to generate new participation. On the other hand, we see other examples from mega sport events, like, for example, the Munich facilities, Munich 1972, which to these days, all these Olympic facilities are still being used for community purposes. So there are a variety of examples. However, when you look at smaller scale events, sometimes you also see smaller scale events that either need to upgrade facilities or even build new facilities. And there I would say we have some examples, like I know the examples of the Pan American Junior Athletic Championships. A new stadium was built, and the stadium absolutely helped develop track and field, soccer, football in the local community. Again, serving those who were already in the sport. Another example is a new swimming pool that was created for an event, and we had other 4 smaller pools closed. Unfortunately, the pools that were closed came from lower socioeconomic areas in the neighborhood. And we all know that people that are less affluent living in these neighborhoods may not have the mobility to access the new facility. So there might have even be a decrease in swimming participation. The problem is, if we think it's important, we need to measure. And often cities miss the benchmark numbers, right? You need the numbers before you start upgrading or building, and then measure after and keep measuring if we want to see if participation has increased. But this is sometimes forgotten and most times not done at all.